How are you finding people's clarity over what they want for their own lives?
I think one of the things I will say, there is a lot more ambition because I do lots of graduate interviews for my own school and a couple of other schools. And I find there's a lot of them say they want to be directors or CEOs. And I kind of feel, well, you probably need to get to general manager first before you can determine whether you're going to be a competent CEO. So I think the hotel schools are guilty of perhaps spending a little bit too much time on skills for the boardroom rather than actually the skills that will get you to the boardroom. So to speak, because you only spend a very small amount of your time in the boardroom, even in a position like mine. We spend most of our time influencing, not necessarily authoritatively telling people what to do, but getting people to follow the business plan and doing what you believe is right for the business. And that takes a lot of experience with working with people, understanding how to get things done successfully. And basically, it's not always about you. So I think sometimes that younger managers coming in, it's all about them. And the very ambitious ones tend to concentrate on themselves. And they quickly realize, actually, well, when you start to get a team of 20, 25, 40, 50 people, it becomes less about you and more about those 50 people and how much they respect you and will follow your guide and leadings and direction and will do things because you've influenced them rather than the fact that you've told them. And that takes time to learn and probably learn the hard way. And I can see it myself with people I mentor, people I guide. I can see the ones that are successfully doing that. And I can see even managers in the 30s still very much focusing on them. When I talk to them, it's all about themselves rather than actually how they're perceived, even by me as their mentor sometimes. And actually, you need to rein this in a bit. You're not actually what you think you are by definition of your job title because you've been in this position for X number of years. No matter how frustrated you are about what you should be, the reality is you are what you are, and you probably still are what you are for a reason until you sort of adapt and maybe change where you are, listen a bit more, and look more at your peer group at people who are actually achieving what you want and maybe learn from them rather than trying to catch snippets of senior people who are already there. Because I can point stuff out to people, but if they're not going to do it, it's kind of academic. It's really up to themselves, isn't it? We all come into this industry broadly with the same level of education and experience because we're quite a meritocratic industry. There may be a few superstars that come in with MBAs or whatever, but I haven't met one yet. And so the opportunities really, I think, is about yourself and how hard you're going to work, how much time you're going to put into your own development. And have you really got the desire to do it? Or you just talk?
I think training your own team is such a skill set. So it must be, probably one of the biggest challenges people that are new into management face is I've now got a team that I'm responsible for their motivation, their inspiration, their aspiration, and their performance. And so how do you go about getting that particular manager's head in the right place to say you are nothing without your team following you? In fact, without your team following you, you're just a person on a walk on their own. So how do you go about screwing their head on the right way if it's needed?
Well, I was introduced to a book called The 1 Minute Manager, which I think is still the Sunday Times bestseller, about 30 years ago in Crown Hotels from Bernard Aylward. And I still utilize that book with people I'm talking to directly and indeed distributing in our own business because the 1 Minute Manager is essentially about setting 1 minute goals, 1 minute reprimands, and 1 minute praising. I actually believe that if you take the time to set some clear goals for your team and do all the things in the 1 Minute Manager, you don't actually need anything else at whatever level of the business you're at, because when businesses fail, it's usually due to lack of clarity and objectives, lack of support in achieving the objectives, and not engaging and inspiring your team to deliver them. Simple. So if you can get on top of that and devote and structure yourself properly around the things that people should be doing and you yourself should be doing, you will become more effective. And it's not about the amount of time you spend in the office or how hard you actually work. And I'm staggered at the amount of times I go into a business and see that there's, even at the senior level, there will be some degree of clarity. But as you move further down, people seem to move away from what it is are their overall objectives and where they're putting their energy into. And then if you meet people 3-4 times a year, 4 times a year ideally, well, I'll settle for 3 and clarify where people are and get them back on track. I absolutely guarantee you would achieve a lot more than you will without that clarity. And in hospitality, there still seems to be a tendency to run around and be busy with the big bunch of keys syndrome and not actually clarify what exactly is the most effective use of my time and what should my team be concentrated on. I was introduced to something called the Balanced Scorecard about 15, 18 years ago on Whitbread, which is about the 4 key strategic goals you have in your business, which is around revenue, sales, which in turn delivers profit, people engagement, and customer satisfaction. Even having just rudimentary action points against all those 4 headings on a notebook will actually improve your effectiveness significantly if you just sit every week and just review how you've done against them and how are you moving the needle forward. And you have to be working in all 4 areas. I have to say nowadays you have to be very, very focused on profit because, again, I find people that are very good operationally do get the customer, but then as they move up, they've missed up the profit piece. Well, you can be a very customer-focused general manager, but if you're not doing the numbers, as you know, as an ex-salesperson, then ultimately you won't be able to deliver for the customer because you'll probably lose your job at some point.
Business.
And it doesn't have to be terribly complicated because they're all intertwined in any case, but you cannot neglect the financial side, even if it's not your natural skill set. If you want to be at senior level, well, any level nowadays, because you have to have a level of financial awareness in hospitality nowadays due to the way hotels are financed. It's not an option extra. It's another area I'm quite surprised about that people are, maybe because they're not particularly numerate or had some challenge with maths in school. You'll find people in the business for 10, 15 years saying, I don't understand the P&L, and yet they manage their household budget. I'm sure they kind of know what's in the back of everyone. It isn't. Some of them have only got 20 lines on the P&L. And that is a kind of an indictment of the industry for maybe not sharing information with them. But equally, I always say to people, be curious, ask for information, because most times you won't be turned down if you ask. You have an inquiry mind, I find. Most people will actually give you the answer, no matter how busy they are, and make time for you. If you ask, at least you get in life is what you ask for. Oprah Winfrey.
Exactly. Hi, I'm Lisa. I hope you enjoyed the film. If you did, please like and share. And if you've got any comments or any questions, just leave them in the box below and I'll come back to you there. Also, the links to my website, Power for Success, are below as well. Have a little look around there. And I hope you enjoyed the channel and have a really lovely day.